Hey guys, Jesse here. I've seen a lot of you struggling to grow profits in your rental business.
There's a lot of co-hosts right now that are failing, managing and operating their own midterm rentals. I get messages every single week where people are like, Jesse, please help me do this. Why am I not getting booked? I've reached out to companies. As more saturation comes along, it's gonna drive the revenues down, which I'm seeing happen right now. Biggest mistake that I see most people make is
So I'm unlocking a webinar from my course for free to help you out.
as more people come into this game, they're gonna be doing the boring thing, listing on platforms, sitting on their hands and waiting to book. You're solving relocation problems. You're solving housing problems. Real operators get repeat business, not just calendar bookings per year. I get so many bookings that come from Airbnb, and all we do is we ask. There's a lot of co-hosts right now that are failing, managing and operating their own midterm rentals. They're getting low bookings, and I get messages every single week where people are like, Jesse, please help me do this. Why am I not getting booked? I've reached out to companies. People are listing on Airbnb and waiting for somebody to book. As more saturation comes along in this market, you're gonna have yourself in a negative position because it's gonna drive the revenues down, which I'm seeing happen right now because more people are coming in. They're competing for the lowest rate to get booked. The biggest mistake that I see most people make is they're hoping instead of building. People are listing on platforms, dropping prices, and hoping that they get booked. That is absolutely not the strategy that you want to do. The difference that I see in people are treating this like a side hustle. A lot of times when people are doing side hustles, there's no systems in place, there's no lead engine, and there's no accountability. There's a cycle that people get stuck in when they do that. They list on these platforms, Airbnb, Furnish Finder, VRBO. They're waiting for people to book, and then they start to panic when their listing is not getting rented. How many of you right now have a property that's hanging out in the market that hasn't been rented in the last 30 days? I'm in that situation. I still have properties that don't get booked all the time, but we work on strategies that can help us get more bookings by being proactive. I still have vacancies, even with systems and operations in place, but the likelihood of them getting booked a lot faster is a benefit because we have multiple different levers to pull. There's a difference between a host that's just listing a property and actually building a business. There's two separate things. And I think what happens is a lot of people get out there and they start putting these listings together. You're waiting for somebody to come in and be like, cool, Stacey's got the best property. I want to jump in and I want to all of a sudden book her place. You're just putting out luck. But when you start to think like a business owner, you're actually able to create leverage. There's a huge difference between the folks that are just looking for a side hustle and the people that are building a business. Again, a lot of that is actually putting systems in place that are going to allow you to be successful in multiple different ways, not just through revenue side, but through marketing, through sales, which we're going to talk about here. Building a midterm rental business is a service-based business. You're B2B. You're solving relocation problems. You're solving housing problems. You're not just hosting. I hear a lot of people say that they're hosting. You're not a host. You're actually providing solutions. Real operators get repeat business, not just calendar bookings per year. This is something that took me 5 years to understand, you guys. But I had a woman named Irene that was actually staying at my property. She had lost her home in a fire. I sat down with her. We walked through one of my properties over in Hackberry in Modesto, California. I was really excited because I was going to get this big, juicy dollar amount booking. And back in, this was probably 2016, the booking was $6,000. And like traditional rent back then was like $1,500. So I was getting like massive amounts of money over traditional long-term rentals. What ended up happening is that she walked the property. She brought her 4 kids. She had 2 older kids, 2 younger kids, and her husband. We all sat down at the dinner table. She looked at me and she said, the only thing that I want is to be able to sit down with my family and have dinner together. You know, a lot of us take those kinds of things for granted, like eating dinner with our family and things of that nature. She started crying, like a real heavy cry. Again, she just lost her home. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I realized like, oh my gosh, I am providing a service for people who have lost their homes, who are in transition, who are travel nurses, who are coming from other markets to come serve my community. I'm actually helping people in my community. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this right now because this was such a eye-opening moment for me that I was chasing money. But I started to realize that the service is actually the business that I'm in. And everything about how I operated started to change. And the second that I started talking about service to relocation specialists and to other travel nursing companies and even travel nurses, my business went like this. It's like a hockey stick. It was taken off and then it went up and then it slowly started to take off quickly because I now realized that I was a service-based business.
People are always asking me what I use to manage my midterm rentals. And I love TurboTenant. TurboTenant is the best way to screen tenants, create specific leases, and collect rent from your guests. It's really the easiest way to do it. Plus, you don't have to overcomplicate rental management when things and tools are there to actually help you. I like TurboTenant because they allow you to customize your own leases for midterm rentals, and you have bonus features like online condition reports that are super helpful for your organization, especially for organized turnover. The best part is TurboTenant is literally less than your Netflix subscription. You can check them out at turbotenant.com/Jesse for special details.
And there's three pillars that I actually realized in that process of learning these new things. The first one is marketing. How many of you are actually marketing your midterm rental properties right now? You're actually reaching out to companies, connecting with them on a regular basis. You have emails that are being sent out to them automatically, put together months in advance. You have to think about these things. I did not do this for years. And I started to realize, like, my gosh, what's happening? Marketing is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle. I actually think marketing is more important than sales in a lot of ways, because if you don't get seen, you get forgotten. That's an important piece of the puzzle. Inbound, outbound, this is marketing. How many of you guys are getting bookings on Airbnb, Furnish Finder? Can you guys put in the chat box? Me, I'm getting bookings there. What's great about that is those are inbound referrals. Outbound marketing is LinkedIn, going in and connecting with people through LinkedIn, local outreach, connecting with your planning divisions in your community centers that you guys have in town. And one of the most important pieces about outbound is you actually are the one reaching out to people. As more people come into this game, they're going to be doing the boring thing, which is listing on platforms, sitting on their hands and waiting to book. But you're actually creating a brand. You guys are all here because I have created a brand for myself, which is a personal brand, right? That allows me to get visibility, which also allows me to get bookings. And guess what's attached to my name? It's my actual business that I have. Branding not only is your business, but you are also a brand. I think this is one of the most important things about building a business. In fact, if I was starting today from scratch, you guys, I would be thinking about brand, like branding myself, because anything that I move into from now on, I'm going to have that attached to me. I think a lot of you are watching this saying, Jesse, I don't have followers, or just my family's following me, or whatever it is. I thought that same thing too when I first started. I didn't think that anybody would catch on to it. I didn't think anybody would understand it. But guess what? Here we are, like literally 30,000 followers on YouTube. Many of you may have come from YouTube. When I first started off, it was just me in my bedroom, literally recording on an iPhone. And you'll start to build your brand that way. And the more that you do that, the more that you'll start to see that you're actually bringing in people you would never otherwise connect with. And that's an important piece of the puzzle. I get so many bookings that come from Airbnb, and all we do is we ask, what brings you in town? Some people will say, I'm in town for 3 days. I'm on a working assignment. They'll start to tell you what they do. And when you start to ask questions like this, you're going to start to understand that you can actually serve these people that are coming in through inbound, which is amazing. We ask, need anything else for the next 90 days? Is there any other kind of job assignments that you guys are going to, or is there anywhere that you're traveling to next? Because I'm a housing solutions provider and I cover all across the US. Guess what? I don't have property all over the US, but I know Andrew's in Portland. I know Shauna's in Portland. I know Linda's in New York. And guess what? If this company or this person that I'm talking to on Airbnb says, yeah, I'm going to be going to New York August 15th. I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Can you help me? Well, heck yeah, I can. Guess I'm going to leverage this community that we're in right now. I know Linda's got a prop. She's going to say, heck yes. I'm going to negotiate a price with this company. And I can almost guarantee you that if I went to Linda and said, hey, I have these people that I've just worked with, they've been at my property for the last 30 days or 20 days, they're going to New York. I'm going to be basically their concierge, getting them from my market in Modesto, California to New York. Are you willing to give me a $500 or $1,000 referral fee based off of whatever I negotiate? I can almost guarantee you that Linda will say yes if the numbers work correctly. You guys, this is one of the cool things about doing the midterm rental space is that you don't actually have to own any property, but what I'm doing is owning the relationship with a person that I've connected with. And that could be somebody that comes from Airbnb or Verbo or Furnish Finder. You guys, there is so much. I've watched so many people build successful midterm rental businesses without owning properties, but just being a connector. And you're actually building a Rolodex. Like, how many other people have Rolodexes in the midterm rental space? Nobody. You're creating something that is going to travel with these different companies in different areas. You're creating the relationships that are attached to them. And guess what? They're going to reach out to you every time they have a new destination where they're going. That's corporate housing, you guys. And we're doing it at a boutique level, which is way better than doing it at a corporate level. All these companies do this exact same thing. Blackstone actually owns Extended Stay America, which is the biggest industry that actually handles all these folks that are traveling. So that's our actual real competitor, not each other. The next one is sales. Every single one of us is in sales, whether we like it or not. You know, a lot of folks that come into this space, they either A, don't understand sales, B, don't think they need to be selling anything, or C, they just don't want anything to do with that at all because they feel slimy doing it. You guys, the only people that feel slimy when they're selling something is something they don't actually believe in. I know that I have property that's going to cater specifically to, say, travel nurses or a family that lost their home. I know that I'm doing a disservice to whoever doesn't come stay with me because the level of detail of how we actually take care of our clients coming in. That's what I know. So when I talk to people on the phone, I'm not selling. I'm providing a service. And that's the mindset shift. A lot of the times we have to sell, whether we like it or not. Every single lease that we get is a sale. And the crazy thing about sales, you guys, is that if I connect with the company today, that does not mean I'm going to get a sale today. We don't make money in the hello. We make money in the hello again. This is one of the most important lessons that I had to learn in the midterm rental business space, because I thought if I called ABC Healthcare Company and they're like, sorry, Jess, I'm not going to work, buddy. I thought that that was the end. And I realized that we don't make money in the hello. We make money in the hello again. There's a magnitude of so many different things that could have gone wrong with that first conversation. conversation. Maybe your pitch came off incorrectly. Maybe you came across too aggressive. Maybe you didn't sound confident. There's so many things that can actually break that first connection, but don't allow that to stop you from continuing to do the thing. And I feel like most people don't like rejection, myself included. I do not like being rejected. When I first started this business, I would call companies on the phone. And before I called these companies, I literally felt like I was gonna throw up. Like I felt this pit in my stomach. I could feel my voice shaking. I could feel my hands starting to kind of quiver. And I knew that they felt that on the other end of the line. And guess what? They did, but I still did it. And I think that's what's one of the most important pieces of this puzzle is you continue to do the thing even though you don't feel like you're ready yet. Ask and you shall receive. This is something that I learned being in sales for 17 years, especially on the healthcare side. If you don't ask for something, you're not gonna get it. So if you're talking to a company, don't be afraid to ask them what you need. I'm not saying like book my house today, but I would say is like, hey, what's sitting on your desk that you've had a hard time placing like over the last couple of weeks? So I'm talking to a temporary housing company, let's say ALE or whatnot. I would ask that. In fact, that's one of the things that I've done. I've literally said, what's sitting on your desk that you've had a hard time placing over the last several weeks or several, maybe even month? I'll get these random weird claims in the middle of Iowa somewhere, and guess what I go do? I'll take that claim, I'll go into our Facebook group, I'll message people that I know, I'll reach out to people and try to actually be of service to the company that I'm working for. It's not my house, but guess what I can do? Get a referral fee if numbers work out correctly. The goal is to get your foot in the door and be of service. And I think a lot of us sometimes we feel like we need to get something back for it, and it will come back to you, but if you provide the service, it will come. And this is like, you know, that baseball analogy, if you build it, it will come. That is it. If you build it, it will come. You got to start to ask those kinds of questions. You got to start to track. You got to start to, you know, have that level of mindset coming into it. And once you start to realize that and you start to put two and two together, you get past the rejection piece, you start putting that leverage in of flexing that muscle of continuing to do the thing. You're going to continue to build in the space. And the other part of the 3 pillars, you guys, is revenue, and that's forecasting cash. If you don't have cash coming in, you don't have a business. What I found over the years, and I still work on this daily, is if you don't know your numbers, you're going to be putting yourself in a position that is really, really bad. And I've watched this happen with many people, which is why I get so many DMs, people on YouTube that are messaging me, help, hey, I need help with this. Another thing that people need to understand, and what's your average 30-day income per unit that you have? I guarantee you not many people have thought about this and they don't actually have it down. What's the market rate? Are you above that price point? And if you are, why are you above that price point? Why is somebody else going to come pay? If the average rent is $3,000 in your market for a 3.2, why is somebody going to pay $4,500 for your unit? You guys, you have to start to forecast these numbers. In the next 90 days, I'm expected to get X amount of money by doing all these things that we talked about right here. Creating a marketing engine that builds your leads for you. You continue to work through them. A sales flow where you follow up. You're doing, you know, right? We're saying hello again. We're following through. We're starting to forecast what we're actually getting. And revenue is in multiple different areas here, you guys. You have to start to know where your income is going to come from. There's many different levers and leverages in the midterm rental space. Co-hosting, you can bring in your own cash that way. Sending referrals, a lead generator, lead connector, that's another way. Your own property, that's another way. So there's multiple different ways, you guys, to build income with midterm rentals. And as you start to do this, you'll start to realize like, oh my gosh, I am getting to 10K a lot faster because I'm doing these kinds of things. And the second that you start to actually think like a business, you'll start to realize that there's other levers in this income stream that can help you tremendously.
That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want a more detailed, customized strategy for your rental business, head over to www.mtrstrategy.com.